Let's get the HPI Firestorm 10T ready to run. Roll the intros. Hello YouTubers and welcome back to Chelmswood RC. As the title suggests, today we are going to get the HPI Firestorm 10T Nitro up and running. As you know from my previous video, I bought the HPI Firestorm 10T second hand on Facebook. The bloke said it was a runner, but I couldn't find out when I was there. So I got it home, I done a video on it, and at the end of the video you did see that I did manage to actually get the engine to start. Now there are a couple of bits that I need to fix and address on here, which I will take you through. I have ordered the parts, and they are genuine HPI parts. So the parts that I have ordered is the HPI Z264 wheel pin sets. These are obviously the pins that go in the hex that the wheel attaches to, because when I took one of the wheels off, the hex was still in the wheel and the pin was completely missing. So obviously that's one I've got to replace. And I've also got the HPI Racing 15170 throttle arm and nut set. Now this is the bit that was actually broken on the side of the carburetor, so this is the piece that we do need to, actually get fixed. So I'm going to spin the camera around, guys. Hopefully you're going to get a decent view, and I'm going to show you what is going on and also what we have done. Since the last video, my wife and I have completely stripped the car down to literally every component, cleaned it all up and put it back together, and we have got the engine running with new fuel lines. The old fuel lines on here were absolutely perished. So I'm going to spin the camera around, guys, and we'll show you what's going to go on. We're going to get the body shell off, and we're going to get cracking with this video and repair. Now this is the first time I've ever done anything like this on camera, so I'm not sure how this is going to come out like, but as you can see, the fuel lines have been replaced, everything has been cleaned up. It's still got all the original electronics and servos, and I have put a battery pack, which is the normal 4 AA batteries, into the usual one that you get with the car. I put some clips onto the back of here, and I've also secured the receiver box with a couple of clips as well. So what have we got to do? So obviously we've got to replace the pin on this wheel, put the hex back on and get the wheel secure. So we'll get that done very, very quickly. I've kept all the bits together in a little box. No, that's not the piece I want. That's the piece I want. No, it's not. That's the piece I want. There we go. Get the right piece in the first place, that helps. And like I said, then we're going to need the HPI Z264 pack. Beauty about this pack is a pack of 10. I only need the one. So, and this is a resealable bag, or it's supposed to be. So we will find out. And lo and behold, I'm trying to get into the packaging. Oh, I can't get in it. Just need to get the fingernail in there. Break the seal. And just get one of these out. Feels like they've actually got a little bit of grease on them, so they're a little bit slippery. So that's why it's a bit awkward to get out the packaging. Let me just quickly pause the camera, guys. Sorry about that, guys, it was a bit awkward. So all you got to do is literally make sure the parts are all pushed in. You pull this part out, and it's not the best light over here. Try and find the hole and pop it in, he says, or she said. So that's that now slid in. Can now put the hex back on. Try and hold the actual dog bone as well to try and keep it still. Grab the wheel. And just for this, I'm going to be using the small usual little nut driver that you get in the RC ready to run packs. That doesn't seem to want to go on, so I'll do it a bit manually to start with. So that is got a feel of it, hopefully. Make sure I've got the wheel on there properly, seated. Doing that up. Again, I'm just going to quickly pause the camera because I think I've dropped the pin out again. So that's the wheel now back on, guys, and secured. And I have tried to clean the wheels up as best as I can. So what we're going to be looking at next is I'm going to be taking the engine and the brake linkage off from the servo, because that will be easier to sort out off the car, because one part has to connect to the actual arm of the carb that I've replacing, and you're going to need a 1.5mm to get the screw out of the servo. Always have like a little pot or lid handy to put the screws in. So I'm going to remove all the arms for the servos, because there is a piece on there that's going to have to come off and be replaced. I'm going to disconnect the fuel lines from the engine and the fuel tank. Now spin the car over, and we're going to need to take these 4 screws out that hold the engine in, which I think is a 2mm, but I'm just double checking, I might be wrong. No, it might even be the 3mm. Might be the 2.5. Yep, so you're going to need a 2.5 for the engine screws. That's 1. 2. Now I have emptied the fuel lines and the fuel tank of any fuel, so I'm not going to get any fuel on my computer desk. So it's now the engine dropped out. So I can now lift the car over carefully with the engine. And again, looks like it's going to be 1.5 or maybe even 2mm to disconnect the exhaust as well. So again, make sure you keep all your screws safe. So we can now remove the car out of the equation, put it down the floor. So if I get you in close, guys, this is the part here that I need to replace. It's the throttle arm. It's hard to see because obviously the majority of it is missing, but I'm going to have to take this bolt off, take off the arm and the washer behind, and I'm going to replace them with all new ones. So for that you're going to need I believe a 5.5mm hex wrench, maybe even a bigger one actually, looking at that. That's the 8. Put all your bits and pieces away, you can never find them again. So let me quickly pause the camera again, guys. So we're going to use the trusty hex wrench that you get with majority of kits. Loosen that nut off, take that nut off, take the broken arm off. There should also be a washer there as well. So as you can see, that is all that is left of the original throttle arm. It's just a piece of plastic now. So let's get the new parts out. Again, this is the original HPI 15170 part. So it's an original part for this car. When the parts decide they want to come out of the bag, I think they're slowly coming. So first of all, we're going to put the washer onto the carb. Then the new piece of throttle linkage. So you've got to make sure that it's the furthest part is outward from the carb, so that the actual servo arms can get to it. And just pop the nut back on, get your usual hex wrench, hold on to the throttle body and just tighten it up. So straight away I need to loosen it off so I can move the carb body round. Now tighten it up. So that way it's now moving, and I can now feel moving the carb that it is nice and free, and with a bit of after on oil in there as well, which I will stick in now. Put a couple of little drops in there, like so. Give it a bit of a wiggle again. So that's basically that bit done, but we're going to keep this handy and the engine handy because we might have to alter the position of the actual arm itself. Now we need to get this piece off of the servo. So it should be pretty easy. It should, he says, pop out the body. And then you need, by the looks of it, a pair of pliers to get the ball out of the original arm. So there you go, guys. You can clearly see now there is two bits of the arm. There's the arm itself and the bit that actually attached to the carb. Completely brittle, so it's just worn with time. So we now grab hold of the engine again and place the ball of the servo ball into the hole, hopefully do it up and it will tighten without losing it. So I'm going to quickly pause the camera, guys, because this one is a bit fiddly. So that's now the ball in the throttle linkage. So I'm now going to put the little washer on, which is just dropped off. Again, replace the nut. Start hand tightening it so we can start finding where we need to put the arm. On the actual housing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully try and stop the car from closing completely. And just tighten that up a little bit. We get the engine back into the car, and then hopefully we can put these on, and hopefully we'll be working. So that is now the engine in, and I'm hoping that I've got the throttle arm in the right place. So now it's just a fact of working out which way all the brake and linkages go. So put it back onto the servo just for the minute, and as typical, got it upside down. So, or have I? Nope. So just quickly get the servo arm back on. Just put the power on to try and keep it a bit still, like that. It's a bit of a little devil to get on there. So I've now reconnected the linkage up to the throttle, and now it's just a matter of putting the brake one back on, which is always the worst of one of the two. It was when we took this apart, if I remember rightly. Again, just turn it around, make sure it's in the right place. Again, I'm just going to quickly pause the camera, guys, to put the brake linkage on. So, with a bit of help with a bit of torchlight, I've now put the, let's bring it up a bit, guys, so you can see what I've done. Replaced the brake linkage here and the throttle body there. I've actually got the electrics turned on at the moment with the servo on and with the screw out in case I've got to make any little modifications. But I reckon, looking at where the carburetor is within the hole, I could probably close it a little bit by using the trims and maybe even using the idle screw. So basically all I have to do now is reconnect my fuel lines, which is always fun because you never want to go on for your first time, but they seem to be going on okay at the minute. So that's that one back on, and so one coming out of the fuel tank goes straight to the engine. Let's give it a quick a bit of a push on. The one coming from the exhaust is one that helps pressurise the fuel tank. That's back on, and now the car has got all 4 wheels on the wagon, and also now has a working engine and brake mechanism. So last night, as you saw, I finished putting back together all the linkages, putting the engine back in, and off camera I put the carburetor to the place where I think it will be set and ready to run. So what I'm going to try to do now is we're going to actually see if we can actually start it and see if it actually works. So I've already gone ahead and put some fuel into the tank, and I've primed the engine as well. Got the electrics on, so everything's working as it should be. Let's see if she fires up. I think we could call that little test as test complete. So I'm going to move the tripod over there a little bit by the road. I'm going to fire her back up and let's see if she actually rolls and runs. So it's still being a bit of a pain in the bum, but we are slowly getting there with it. But as you can see, guys, she needs a bit of a tinkering, so she's going to need a bit of fine tuning, but we have a runner. No, we've got runaway. So after all that tinkering, getting it up and ready, we do find a culprit. This carb is mullered. That shouldn't be doing that. So that is definitely a new carb. It's not an issue. I can get a new one ordered. So I will get a new one ordered and then we will return to this video. But you've seen it running and it was quite happily before that broke off. So I could say that we could just safely say that this has been a successful kind of fix. So unfortunately we did fix but didn't fix the HPI Firestorm 10T. Oh well, it's not a problem. I had a feeling I was going to have to order a new carburetor for it anyway, so it was on my plans to order a new one and replace it. So now it's definitely said that I've got to. It's not one of my best videos, guys. It's the first time I've ever tried doing a repair or how-to like this on an RC car. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please, as always, smash the like button down on the left-hand side. If you're a subscriber, thank you for staying with me. And if you want to become a subscriber, you know what to do. You just need to click on the subscribe button down on the right-hand side. Click on the little bell icon, select all, and you'll get notified of all my videos coming up soon. If you want to carry on watching videos from my channel, there should be a link coming up here and here. Until the next time, guys, take care of yourselves, protect your loved ones, but above all, happy modelling, and bye-bye from Chelmswood RC.